Welcome back to Streaming University. I'm your professor, Kirk Harnack. Glad that you're here. This is Chapter 3, Audio Processing for Encoding. Let's jump right in. You're familiar with these audio processors, or if you've been around a while like I have, you probably are. They work great for transmission, AM and FM transmission, but they do a lot of clipping. Clipping is the secret sauce, and how you do the clipping, to so many AM and FM audio processors. And there are ways to mitigate the distortion effects of clipping, and those are taken advantage of. But you know what? Those techniques, they just don't work with perceptual audio codecs like MP2, MP3, and AAC. They don't work. You can't do it. You can't do clipping. Now, some people want to be kind of loud. I mean, you want to have your average volume high and keep the clipping, keep the peak volume down. So what are you going to do? And especially what are you going to do? Because honestly, processing for a codec, that's a moving target. The codec itself is a moving target, whereas AM and FM transmitters, those aren't. We know their functions, but a codec, well, the way it behaves and the way it treats audio moves around all the time. Here is the best advice for processing for encoding audio. First of all, avoid dense processing. That's right. Slow down the attack and release times. Don't get it all densed up unless you just have to have it that way. Audio encoding wants to have a little breathing room, and we're not in a loudness war on the internet anymore. That's a good thing. Check for full headroom at the input to the encoder. What does that mean? Well, if you're using an audio processor that is external to your audio encoder, you may have the output of it turned up too high, and you're not allowing any headroom for the input to the encoder. So you need to check that very carefully. Make sure you're checking your metering with regard to peaks, and do not ever go above, well, certainly not above 0 dB full scale on the encoder's input, because that's going to hurt and make distortion. At low coding bit rates, let's say you're putting out a couple of streams, a medium bitrate stream and a low bitrate stream for those who are connection challenged. Well, at low coding bit rates, reduce the audio bandwidth. That is, roll off the high end if you need to, and certainly don't boost the high end energy, because a low bitrate codec has to throw out more data than a higher bitrate codec. And what's the hardest thing to code? Well, it's high frequencies. Hey, bass is easy to encode. Voice is fairly easy too. But you get up to trumpets and cymbals and those instruments with some energy in the high frequencies, that is tough for a codec to do. Don't make it work so hard. It sounds bad. Make it work a little more easily. And do not, under any circumstances, use a clipper. Square waves, they don't play very nice at all with an audio codec. Use precise peak control from Lookahead limiting. That is absolutely the way to get it done. Once again, clipping, okay for AM, okay for FM, not okay for psychoacoustic encoders. Let's take a look at that level problem again. The coded path offers a little different set of challenges with regard to level. It's not possible to overmodulate a system. There's precise peak control at 0 dB full scale. You can't go above that, as you could with, AM or FM transmitters. So precision peak control is required. But here's the bad news about precision peak control. The conventional method of clipping does make those systemic problems, like lots of harmonics, lots of energy up there where you don't need it. And these can produce aliasing products in the encoder itself. While it's critical to use a look-ahead limiter for the best peak control, it's also possible for a look-ahead limiter to cause its own intermodulation distortion, or IMD. Textbook designs do this under many circumstances. Now, I got to tell you, Frank Foti and other designers at Omnia years ago developed a look-ahead limiter that thoroughly mitigates intermodulation distortion, and this design is included in all hardware and software stream encoders from Telos with the Zipstream name. That is the AXE style 3-band and the Omnia 9 style. That has it in there as well. It has the look-ahead limiter that mitigates IMD before it even happens. Processing for coded audio. Should you use any of those processors? No! Those are AM or FM broadcast processors. Should you use audio that comes off the air from a tuner? Even if it's a great tuner, the answer is no. Don't use that audio. Because that audio has been clipped and limited and contains plenty of audio harmonics that are not going to play nice. What you want to use for your stream is an audio processor that's been designed specifically for streaming processing, for stream encoding, for, in fact, to put it bluntly, for perceptual audio coding that's going to do the bitrate reduction. That's the kind of processing that you want. Now, if you happen to have an Omnia processor that is set up not only for FM, but for, say, HD processing, well, that processor, the HD, can work very well for a coded audio stream because, after all, HD radio is coded audio. So the processors shown on the right, each can do this either with a different software load or an optional usage of the internal processing functions. But here's the good news. The streaming encoders from Zipstream include proper audio processing anyway. You don't have to use an external processor for your stream. Even the lowest priced Zipstream AXE comes with a 3-band processor with that properly designed Lookahead limiter in there as well. And there's also available in some products the Omnia 9 processing from Leif Clayson. And it really does a super bang-up job on processing your audio specifically for audio streaming. So check those out. And just remember, with Zipstream products, you get the right processing built right in. So that's a look at audio processing for encoding. Great advice here. We went through it fast, actually, but pay attention to it. Pay attention to that processing, and don't do clipping, and watch your headroom. Coming up next, on the next episode, how to spot a fake.